Liam sat on the same bench every afternoon, right in the middle of Harmony Park. He wore a dark blue suit and polished shoes, and he always brought the same lunch: one sandwich, one apple, and a bottle of water. While others rushed through their day, Liam liked this quiet time. It was his way of escaping the noise of business meetings, busy streets, and loud people. No one ever bothered him, and he didn't bother anyone. That was how it had been for almost 2 years. But one day, something changed. A girl sat on the far end of his bench. She was quiet. Her clothes were old and dusty, her shoes had holes, and her hair was tied back with a rubber band. She looked around 12 or 13 years old. In her small hands, she held a pencil and a torn notebook. She didn't look at Liam. She didn't speak. She just started drawing. Liam glanced at her from the corner of his eye. She didn't ask for money. She didn't even look nervous. She was just there. The next day, she came again, and the day after that. For 5 days straight, the girl sat at the edge of Liam's bench, drawing silently while he ate. He noticed she never had any food. She never drank water. She just sketched in that notebook, page after page, never repeating a design. Liam didn't understand what she was drawing: shapes, lines, circles, some of them looking like machines or buildings, but they were very detailed. On the 6th day, Liam brought an extra sandwich. He unwrapped his lunch, then held the second sandwich out toward her without saying anything. The girl didn't look up at first. She kept drawing. But after a few seconds, she stopped. Her eyes met his. She looked unsure. Liam didn't smile, but he nodded once, softly. She reached out, took the sandwich slowly, and held it in her lap. She didn't eat right away. She just stared at it like it was something rare. Then, she gave a small nod back, almost like a thank you, and returned to her drawing. That became their silent habit. Every day, Liam brought 2 sandwiches, one for him, one for her. She never spoke, neither did he. But it wasn't uncomfortable. It felt peaceful. Liam started to wonder about the girl. Who was she? Where did she go at night? Why was she always alone? She had no phone, no bag, no jacket, just that notebook and pencil. He began to notice more things about her. Her fingers were thin, but they moved like she was used to drawing. Every day, her eyes were bright, always focused. She never wasted time. And her drawings, they weren't like anything he had ever seen. Some pages looked like city maps, but not of any city he knew. Others had machines that floated or seemed to fly. One sketch showed a tall glass tower with plants growing inside it, reaching toward the sky. It didn't look like a child's drawing. It looked like a design for something real. Liam wanted to ask her about them, but something held him back. Maybe it was her silence. Maybe it was the strange feeling that she didn't really belong here, not just in the park, but in this whole world. He started calling her the quiet girl in his mind. She never told him her name, and he never asked. One cloudy afternoon, as they both sat on the bench and ate in silence, Liam finally spoke. "You draw very well," he said in a calm voice. The girl paused, then looked at him. She said nothing, but after a moment, she nodded. Double quotes, "Where do you get your ideas?" He asked. She opened her notebook to a clean page and began to draw again. In just a few minutes, she had sketched a strange glowing circle with lines of light around it. In the center was a figure, a person standing before what looked like a door. Then she looked up and said quietly, "From my memories." Liam stared at the drawing, then at the girl. He didn't know what she meant, but he knew one thing for sure. This girl was no ordinary, homeless child, and his quiet lunches were about to become something far more important. From that day on, Liam and the quiet girl became a part of each other's routine. He didn't know her name, and she still didn't speak much, but something had changed between them. There was a silent understanding now. Every afternoon, they met at the same bench, shared lunch, and sat together in peace. Liam had never thought much about the people who lived on the streets. But now he thought about the girl often. Her drawing, her soft answer, "From my memories," kept echoing in his mind. What kind of memories did a child like her have? He started coming to the park a little earlier each day, just to see if she was already there. She always was. Sitting quietly, drawing. Sometimes he tried to talk. "Do you like apples?" he asked one day, handing her one with the sandwich. She looked at it, smiled just a little, and gave a nod. Then, without a word, she pulled a folded paper from her pocket and handed it to him. Liam opened it carefully. It was another sketch, this time of a tree. But not just any tree. It was huge, taller than any building he had ever seen, with long, winding branches that glowed with soft light. Floating objects hovered near the tree like leaves caught in the air. At the base of the tree was a person, standing with their arms raised. "What is this?" he asked softly. The girl looked at the drawing, then said, "It grows in the middle of the city." "Where I came from." Liam blinked. "Where you came from?" She nodded but didn't explain. Her expression stayed calm, her eyes steady. She didn't seem like someone who was making up stories. She spoke like someone remembering facts. He folded the paper and placed it in his briefcase. "Thank you," he said. She didn't smile, but there was a small warmth in her eyes. As the days passed, Liam began bringing other things too. A warm scarf, a small sketchbook, better pencils. She never asked for anything, but she always accepted what he gave with quiet gratitude. One day, Liam brought a small portable radio. "I thought you might like to hear some music," he said. The girl turned it on and listened closely. Classical music played softly from the speaker. She tilted her head and said, "This is different. We don't use music like this anymore." Liam looked at her. "What do you mean we?" She didn't answer. That night, Liam went home and opened the folded papers she had given him. He laid them out across his kitchen table. The designs were complex. Some looked like buildings made of glass and stone. Others looked like machines he couldn't even understand. One drawing had writing and symbols he didn't recognize. He scanned a few of the sketches and emailed them to his engineering team with a simple message. "What do you make of this?" The next morning, one of the lead designers replied, "Very strange. These look like advanced energy systems or transportation ideas, but we don't have this technology yet. Where did this come from?" Liam didn't reply. Back at the park, he asked the girl more carefully, "How do you know so much about things no one has ever built?" She shrugged. "I remember them. From before." "Before what?" "Before I woke up here." Liam paused. Her words felt strange but honest. He didn't know whether she was imagining things, dreaming, or telling the truth. And the most confusing part was he wanted to believe her. The girl opened her new sketchbook and began to draw again. This time, it was a picture of Liam. He was sitting on the bench, just as he was now. But beside him, in the drawing, was a floating screen with lights and buttons. And behind him stood a tall tower made of curved metal, reaching into the clouds. Liam stared at it. "Is this your memory, too?" She shook her head. "No, this one hasn't happened yet." Liam didn't know what to say. He just sat beside her, quiet and thoughtful, while the girl kept drawing what the future might hold. Liam was a man who believed in facts, numbers, and results. As a successful businessman, he had built his company through careful planning and smart choices. But now, sitting beside a quiet girl who drew things that didn't exist yet, he began to feel unsure. Every day, Mira, he had started calling her that, in his mind came with new sketches. She never said if that was her real name, but the name felt right. She still didn't speak much, but her drawing said a lot. One day, she handed him a page without being asked. It was a detailed image of a machine round in shape with glowing lines running through it. In the center was something like a crystal, floating in the air. "What is this?" Liam asked Dot. She pointed to the crystal. It gives energy. Forever. Clean. Liam looked closer. This doesn't exist. Not yet. She nodded. But it will. That night, Liam couldn't stop thinking about the design. He scanned it and sent it again to one of his engineers, just like before. This time he added, "Could this work?" The reply came the next morning. The design is ahead of its time. But yes, in theory, it could provide endless clean energy. Who made this? Liam didn't answer. He just stared at the drawing, thinking. Back at the park, he asked Myra, "Where do these ideas come from? Are you an inventor? A student?" She shook her head. "I just remember." Liam tried again. "You said you came from somewhere else. Do you mean another city? Another country?" She paused, then looked up at him seriously. "Another place. Not like here, more quiet, more light, no smoke, no fighting." Liam listened carefully. Her words were simple, but they didn't sound made up. They sounded like a memory. What happened? Why are you here? Mira looked down at her notebook. Her hands tightened around the pencil. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "I walked through the wrong door." Liam blinked. "A door?" She drew a picture on a new page. A large circle, glowing, with steps leading into it. Beside it, she drew a smaller person, maybe herself walking through. "I was only trying to look. But it closed too fast, and now I can't go back." Liam felt a chill. He didn't understand everything, but something in his heart told him she was telling the truth. Not the kind of truth that lives in science books, but a truth that lives in stories too big to explain. He leaned back on the bench and looked at the sky. "What if I believe you?" he asked. Mira glanced at him. "Most people don't." Liam smiled gently. "Maybe I'm not most people." She gave a tiny smile, the first real one he had seen from her. From that day on, their talks became longer. Mira explained small things. How her world had tall towers made from glass and living trees. How machines didn't make noise. How people shared everything. There were no poor or rich, just different kinds of work and learning. She spoke in a soft voice, like she was afraid someone might hear. And Liam always listened. One afternoon, Mira handed him a drawing folded 3 times. "This one is important," she said. He opened it. It was a map, but not of any place he recognized. It showed lines connecting points, circles with symbols inside them, and a strange mark near the bottom corner, a spiral inside a square. "What is this?" he asked. "It's where the doors are," she said. "One of them might still work." Liam stared at it. He didn't know what to say. Mira looked around carefully. Her eyes paused on a man walking by with a newspaper. Then she turned back to Liam and said, "They're watching. Not everyone wants me to go back." Liam followed her eyes but saw nothing strange. Still, something in her voice made him nervous. "Who's watching?" he asked. She didn't answer. She just quietly packed her notebook and stood up. "I'll come tomorrow," she said. Then she walked away into the shadows of the park, her small figure blending into the city like smoke in the wind. Liam sat alone on the bench, the strange map still in his hand. He knew now this was no ordinary girl, and something much bigger had already begun. The map stayed in Liam's briefcase, carefully folded, but it never left his thoughts. At work, he sat through meetings, answered emails, and spoke to investors, but in the back of his mind, he kept thinking about the strange drawing Mira had given him, the circles, the symbols, the spiral inside the square. It looked like a code, or maybe a plan, but he didn't know how to read it. That evening, Liam spread it out on his home desk. He traced the lines with his finger. His mind filled with questions. Were these real places? Could one of them be the door Mira had mentioned? He made a copy and sent it quietly to an old friend, Dr. Ravi, a retired scientist who used to work in advanced technology labs. His message was short. "Take a look. Do these symbols mean anything to you?" Dr. Ravi replied the next day, "Interesting. Some of these symbols remind me of ancient geometry mixed with modern design. The spiral in the square is often seen in patterns linked to energy flow." "Where did this come from?" Liam hesitated before replying. "From a child with a brilliant mind, possibly something more." The next afternoon, Liam reached the park early. Mira was already sitting on the bench, drawing in her notebook as usual. "I showed the map to someone," Liam said as he handed her a sandwich. She looked up, eyes sharp. "Who?" "A scientist. Trustworthy," Liam said. He didn't laugh. He said, "Your drawing has meaning." Mira stared at him for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Then he might see the message." "Message?" Liam asked. She pulled another folded paper from her pocket and placed it in his hand. "Only people who are looking with care will see it." Liam unfolded it. It looked like a design, curved lines crossing over each other, stars, numbers in corners, and tiny marks. It seemed almost like art, but then, in the center, he noticed something different, a group of small dots, arranged like letters. Liam squinted. The message was faint, but it was there. "Find the quiet field. When the sky breaks, the door will open." He looked up. "What does this mean?" "It's part of the map," Mira explained. "There's a place where energy is soft, where things can cross." Liam shook his head slowly. "How do you know all this?" "I told you," she said. "I remember." "From dreams?" "No," she said softly. "From before I woke up in this world." There was something calm and sad in her voice, like someone remembering a home they had lost long ago. Liam put the message in his coat pocket. "Do you want to go back?" "Yes," she said, "but it's not just for me. If the door opens, others might come too, some good and some not." That made Liam pause. "Are you in danger?" Mira looked away. "Not yet, but someone is searching. They don't want the door to open again. They want to keep it closed, forever." Liam sat in silence. The city sounds faded into the background. He suddenly realized he was no longer just a rich man feeding a quiet girl in the park. He was part of something far more mysterious. "Can I help?" he asked. Mira looked at him carefully. "You already are." Later that evening, Liam drove to the edge of the city. He followed the lines on the map and arrived at a wide-open field, a quiet space near an old power station, now shut down. The grass was tall. The place felt forgotten. He stood in the middle of the field as the sky darkened. There was no door. No sign. But there was a strange feeling in the air, like the world was holding its breath. Liam checked the message again. "When the sky breaks, the door will open." He didn't know what that meant, but he believed now. Mira was not just a lost girl. She was a key. And soon, something would unlock. The next few days felt different for Liam. Something had changed, not just in his thoughts, but in the world around him. In the park, Mira was still quiet. She drew as usual, and Liam brought her food as always. But now they both seemed to look over their shoulders more often. The peaceful feeling they once had during lunch was no longer the same. It started when Liam noticed a small drone flying overhead. It hovered above the trees, not loud, but not completely quiet either. At first, he thought it was just someone's toy or a security device from the city. But then it came back the next day, and the day after that. Each time, it stayed longer. Mira saw it too. She didn't say anything, but Liam noticed how she closed her notebook quickly and held it tighter when the drone appeared. On the fourth day, she finally spoke. "They found me." Liam frowned. "Who?" Myra looked up. Her voice was soft but clear. "The ones who shut the doors." He didn't fully understand, but he could see the worry in her eyes. "Are they dangerous?" he asked. "They don't want the world to change," she said. "They want to keep things as they are. No doors, no truth." Liam felt a strange pressure in his chest. This wasn't just about one lost girl anymore. Something bigger was happening, something that others didn't want him to see. That evening, he called Dr. Ravi again. "Have you ever heard of technology that can track people through dreams or memories?" Liam asked. Dr. Ravi paused. "Not officially, but many years ago, there were quiet talks projects with children who claimed they saw other worlds. Most people called it nonsense. The government closed the files." Liam leaned forward. "What if one of those children didn't disappear but ended up in our world alone?" There was a long silence on the other end of the call. "Then someone would want to find her," Dr. Ravi said, "and keep her hidden." The next day at the park, Liam noticed a man sitting on a nearby bench. He wore a plain jacket and dark glasses. He had no food, no book, no phone, just sat there still, watching. Mira saw him too. "That's one of them," she whispered. Liam glanced at the man, then back at Mira. "What do they want from you?" "They want my drawings," she said. "Not to use them, but to bury them, to erase the map. If the door opens again, people will ask questions. They don't want questions." Liam felt anger rise inside him, not loud or wild, but deep and steady. Mira was just a child, a kind, brilliant, quiet child. She deserved safety, not fear. He leaned closer and whispered, "We won't let them stop you." Mira looked into his eyes. "Then we have to move fast." That night, Liam took all the sketches Myra had given him and placed them in a fireproof case. He copied each one onto a secure drive and uploaded them to a private server, far from the city's networks. He also sent one message to a small group of scientists and inventors he trusted. What if the future was already drawn? Would you help build it? He attached Mira's clean energy design. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the city, quiet steps followed Mira whenever she moved. She had never stayed in one place too long, sleeping near closed shops or quiet alleys. But now even those places didn't feel safe. One night, she hid under a bus stop when a quiet whirring sound passed above. The same drone hovered, scanning the area with a soft blue light. Mira closed her eyes and whispered to herself, "Not yet. Not yet." She knew the door wasn't ready, but soon the sky would change, and when it did, she had to be there. Not just for herself. Liam sat alone in his home office, surrounded by sketches, maps, and symbols. Mira's notebook pages were spread across his desk like puzzle pieces. Some of them still made no sense to him. Others looked like blueprints, clear and full of purpose. But one design stood out from the rest. It was a strange machine, shaped like a ring, with 3 pillars standing around it. In the center was a space empty, open. The notes around it were written in soft pencil, "Stable path between 2 worlds. Must be built in quiet energy zone." Liam remembered the field, that empty place near the old power station. The place Mira had shown on her map. It was quiet, forgotten, just like she said it needed to be. He called Dr. Ravi again. "I need your help," Liam said. "I want to build something. Something based on a design from Myra's drawings." Ravi agreed, though he sounded unsure. "We'll need a team, a small one. People who won't ask too many questions." "I've already picked them," Liam said. "They're ready." 3 days later, Liam stood in the middle of the quiet field again. Tall grass brushed against his legs, and the sky above was pale with clouds. His team had already arrived, engineers, scientists, and builders who trusted Liam without needing full answers. The structure rose slowly, quietly, piece by piece. 3 tall metal pillars formed a triangle, just like the drawing. In the center, the ring was placed on a solid base. They didn't know exactly how it would work, but they followed Mira's instructions carefully. She said this was a window, Liam told them. Not a machine, a window between worlds. Some of the team looked unsure, but no one walked away. Mira visited only once during the building. She stood at a distance, watching. She didn't speak to anyone except Liam. Her voice was soft when she said, "You're almost ready." "What happens when we turn it on?" he asked. "The truth will be seen," she replied. "For a short time." When the machine was finished, Liam invited Mira back to the field. The team waited quietly as she stepped into the center and placed a small crystal into a holder on the ring. It was the only thing she had kept hidden until now. "This powers it?" Liam asked. "It remembers home," she answered. She pressed her hand against one of the pillars. A soft humming sound filled the air. The ring began to glow, gently at first, then brighter. Light flowed through the edges like moving water. Everyone stood still. Then, inside the ring, something changed. The air shimmered. And slowly, a new world appeared. It looked like Earth, but cleaner. The sky was deep blue, with birds flying calmly in formation. In the distance, tall towers stood with plants growing on their sides. Vehicles floated silently in the air. People walked in peace, wearing light-colored clothes. Everything seemed calm, soft, and bright. One of the scientists whispered, "Is this real?" Mira nodded. "It's where I belong." Liam stared at the scene inside the ring. It felt like looking through a perfect dream. And yet, it felt more real than anything he had ever seen. "This is your world," he said. "Yes," she replied. "And this was my mistake." Liam turned to her. "Why do you say that?" "I came through the wrong door. It wasn't ready. It closed behind me, and I was trapped here." "Can you go back now?" he asked. "Only when the sky breaks," she said. "That's when the worlds align. That's when the door stays open long enough." Liam looked up at the clouds. "When will that happen?" Mira stepped back from the ring. "Soon, but not yet." Suddenly, one of the engineers pointed to the trees. A figure stood at the edge of the field, a man in dark clothes. Then another, watching. "They're here," Mira said quietly. Liam stepped protectively in front of her. "Let them watch," he said. "They can't stop the truth anymore." The glowing ring hummed softly behind them, still showing the peaceful world on the other side. For the first time, Liam felt something more than curiosity. He felt hope. The window to the other world remained open for 5 minutes before the light inside the ring slowly faded and the image disappeared. The field returned to silence. The soft hum of the machine stopped. Everyone stood still, unsure of what had just happened. But no one could forget what they had seen. "It worked," Liam said softly, as if afraid the sound of his own voice might break the moment. Mira looked calm. "The door is not open yet. That was just a window, a small look." Liam turned toward her. "But it means the design is right." "It means we're ready." She nodded. "Almost." One of the engineers asked, "What happens when the real door opens?" Mira looked up at the sky. The clouds were moving slowly, forming strange shapes. "The world will feel it. The energy will shift. Some people will notice. Some will pretend not to. But no one can unsee it." Liam remembered Mira's words. When the sky breaks, the door will open. He wasn't sure what that meant, but he trusted her now. Fully. Later that evening, Liam sat on a bench outside the field station. Mira sat beside him, holding her sketchbook. On her lap, the air was cool. Crickets sang softly in the grass. "I used to think I was lost forever," Mira said. "That I would grow old here, in a world that wasn't mine." Liam looked at her, surprised. "You never seemed afraid." "I was," she replied, "but then you came. And every time you shared your lunch, I remembered that kindness still exists, even here." Liam smiled quietly. "I didn't do much. You listened," Mira said. "That's more than most." She opened her sketchbook and flipped to a fresh page. Slowly, she began drawing again. The lines were smooth and confident. Liam watched as a familiar shape formed, the ring, the 3 pillars, and a light breaking through the sky above them. "It will happen at night," she said. "When?" "Soon, very soon." The next day, Liam noticed more watchers. Two people stood across the street from his office, wearing dark coats. A small drone hovered above his car. His emails began acting strangely, some messages disappearing, others arriving late. He didn't panic. Instead, he made backup plans. He gathered the designs, the notes, and videos of the window opening. He sent copies to trusted friends, reporters, and scientists with a simple message: "You'll understand when the sky breaks." He made arrangements in case something happened to him. But above all, he stayed calm, because Mira believed. And that was enough for him. That night, Mira visited the field again. This time she brought something new, a small silver object in her hand. It looked like a stone, but it pulsed with soft blue light. "What is it?" Liam asked. "It's a key," she said. "It holds the memory of home. When the sky opens, it will guide the doorway. Are you sure?" He asked. "I feel it. The moment is close." As if on cue, the wind began to shift. The air felt different, lighter, but also filled with quiet pressure. The clouds above started to move faster. A faint glow formed behind them, even though there was no moon. "It's happening," Mira whispered. Liam looked around. Some of his team had returned. They stood in the field silently, watching the sky. None of them spoke. No one took pictures. It was a moment that didn't need words. Suddenly, a thin crack of light appeared in the sky, high and bright, like a tear in the air itself. The ground vibrated softly beneath their feet. "The sky is breaking," Mira said. She stepped forward and placed the silver stone into a holder on the machine. The ring lit up again, brighter than before. The pillars glowed with blue light. A strong hum filled the field, like a song made of wind and light. Inside the ring, the window opened again, but this time, it was no longer just a view. It was a path.